Hey everybody, welcome back to the IHC Craft Room. This is live number 13 of the Easter Extravaganza, and I've said it just as annoyingly in all the 12 live streams that preceded this, so enjoy. Anyway, today we're going to be making some 3D eggs, like Easter eggs, on a bed of grass. At least that's the plan. So what I mean by that is we're going to be making these guys using this awesome mold, and we're gonna put it on a little layer of wax to make it look like it's sitting in your backyard for an Easter egg hunt. And it looks like chocolate because I'm Mary and I love chocolate. So why wouldn't we do chocolate? Like, come on. All right. So I'm super excited. We're gonna get started. And the first thing we're gonna need is our scale, and I am going to protect it with a piece of parchment paper and paper towel because I'm going to be using fragrance oil to make these candles scented today. So safety first. Let's always remember that. I'm going to also put on a pair of gloves. But first, let's talk a little bit about our candle maker math for the day. We're going to be using these two 8-ounce clear candle jars. Now, the actual size of them is really important because of how wide the eggs are. It needs to be able to fit in the opening of the candle. Of the jar. So that's really the only reason we're not filling this with wax. We're going to be putting the egg on a platform of wax, let's say. So we're going to be targeting a 10% fragrance load because that's what I usually do because I like me some 10%. And then for the green grass main pour, which I told you about at least 14 times now, we're going to need about 132 grams of Freedom Soy Wax. And then we're going to be adding 13 grams of fragrance oil to it. And the fragrance oil we're using today smells like chocolat because we're making chocolate Easter eggs, chocolate Easter eggs. Okay, focus. And we're going to also need, we're going to pour at a temperature target of about 140 to 145 degrees Fahrenheit. At least that's what we're shooting for. But if we don't get there, for the 3D egg, we're going to need 125 grams of pillar soy wax. It's very important that it is pillar soy because the pillar soy wax is designed to be a harder type of wax so that it can be demolded more easily from things like this egg mold, but also things like if you see those pillar candles in awesome videos or on church altars. I don't know. Where do you see pillar candles? I don't know. Wherever you see them, they're made using pillar soy wax, most likely. Or paraffin wax. But anyway, let's focus. And we're going to need 12 grams of fragrance oil. Again, same chocolate because chocolate. And we're targeting a pour temperature of about 165 degrees Fahrenheit for those. But I'm targeting these temperatures. It doesn't mean we're going to actually achieve them. The only temperature I really, really focus on when making candles is the temperature of the melted wax. Getting it up to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. Super important for it to blend well with the fragrance oil. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but this is the basic math we're going to be working with today. So I'm going to go ahead and start pouring my, or measuring out my Freedom Soy Wax so we can pop it into the double boiler. Hi there, Daddy. Welcome. Welcome, Anna. Hello. So we're going to go ahead. What did I say we need? We need 132 grams of Freedom Soy Wax. And I'm going to be using my double boiler for this one. So I'll be using this guy. Very important when you are new to candle making to pay attention to the little details. This is a great little detail to pay attention to. As soon as I put my pour pot on, it added 151 grams. So it's super important to always zero out your scale right before you start measuring out your stuff. You never know. Sometimes we forget these little things. 132. That's what we're shooting for. Oh, Mary, chill. I far exceeded what I needed. Okay, gloves. You don't really need to wear gloves to deal with wax. I mean, I don't think you do. It's a vegetable wax, soy wax, so it's natural. There's nothing to be concerned about. But you always want to wear gloves when you're dealing with fragrance oil. So what did I say I needed? 132. Wow, there's still that much. I took a whole handful. I really overshot this. Oh, close. 132. Okay, so we're only doing a little bit of wax today because it's going to be a small layer on the bottom that we're going to be doing. You know, I don't know if I have enough water in my double boiler. I hope I do. Okay, focus. So I'm going to measure out my fragrance oil in a second, but I want to talk about what we're pouring that Freedom Soy to be. We're going to make it about 2 inches, or no, about an inch, about a finger width. That's as high as I want it to go. And then we're going to have our wick sticking up, and we will thread the egg onto the wick. So it's sitting on like a platform of grass, as though we are going Easter egg hunting, because it's Easter and I love chocolate. Yippee. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out my pillar wax as well. Now I'm putting this in a heat safe microwave measuring cup. Wait, did I say that right? Probably not, but it's heat safe. It can go in the microwave. And I'm doing that because this pellet style wax can easily be melted in the microwave. So to not wait for that to finish, we're going to melt this at the same time as well. So I'm targeting, as I said earlier, 125 grams of wax so that we can fill that egg mold. 125. Let's see if I can actually do it without going over by a bazillion this time. Now I'm getting way too shy, way too fast. 125. Oh, my water's getting rowdy. Can you hear it? Oh, see, I got excited. Can you hear that? I feel like it might be a little short on water for real, which is odd because I filled it to the same spot I always fill it to. Okay, 125. Wonderbar. Okay, we've got our waxes measured out. I'm going to pop this in the microwave in a minute. I don't want to do it until I need it. And this is not a lot of wax, so it's going to melt very quickly. So I don't want to take off to do that until I know, you know what I mean? It'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine. All right. Now let's focus on fragrance oil for this wax, the green pour. So for that wax, we're going to need 13 grams of fragrance oil. I'm going to grab a paper towel to have handy. Okay. And again, gloves, mucho importante. You do not want to have fragrance oil touch your skin directly. Small quantities can be used for bath and body. You need to check the product page for each of the fragrances or reach out to your supplier. They should have a document called an IFRA document, an IFRA document. And that document will tell you percentages that it is safe to use your fragrance oil at for different applications like hand lotion or shampoo or body wash or soap. So all of these things can be found in that IFRA document. So if you do want to use fragrance oil for bath and body purposes, definitely reach out to your supplier or check their product pages because they might have it handy already. Okay, so we need 13 grams of this for our grass base. So here we go, 13 grams. Mary, I'm overage today. I'm all about being over the top today, apparently. What a surprise, Mary, over the top? No. So I only need 13 grams, so I'm going to use my pipette. I picked up a bunch of these off of Amazon. Totally worth it. I use them all the time because I'm very inaccurate in my pours. So a pipette is really helpful. I really suck at getting just the perfect amount. So, oh, I took way too much out. I need 13. I wonder if my scale is being difficult. Sometimes scales, when their batteries get to the end of their lifetime, they act really silly. Okay, that's for the green. Let me put the green dye behind it so I don't get confused. And now this is going to be for our actual egg. How are you doing? Oh my God, see, it's almost done melting already. It is hopping. It is hopping. Okay, so for this one, we need 12 grams of fragrance oil. Here we go, which is almost identical in case anybody was watching. Oh, I got it on the first try. Yippee! That's great. Okay, then I don't need this pipette anymore. I'm going to give this a quick wipe. So this is a dark chocolate fragrance oil. It has like elements of walnut and caramel and vanilla. So it's really sweet smelling, but definitely you smell the chocolate. So it's perfect for this application. All right, so you are for the green. Look at the bubbles I made when I used my pipette. I don't know. I've never seen bubbles sit like that in fragrance oil before. Go away. Okay, we've measured all the things. Let's get these out of here. We don't need you anymore. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your assistance. Now let's get our candle vessels ready because look where we're at. Now we need to get up to 185. Oh, we're already there. Somebody on behind. Okay, focus. So I'm going to keep that boiling for a few minutes. And first, what we're going to do is clean our vessel really quickly. Now, you could totally wash these with soap and water But because they're made of glass, you can also use Windex or glass cleaner, or maybe even some vinegar or water spray. I've never actually done that before for this purpose. I always use Windex, and I love it because the alcohol in it makes it dry really quickly. So by the time I come back to start putting in my wick, it'll be in great shape. It'll be dry by then. And the reason I'm doing this is just to like get rid of any dust or debris that might be stuck at the bottom of my vessel, because you know, storage rooms, basement storage room, whatever, crap happens. Okay, so today we're going to be using Stabilo 16 wicks, which are a little bit on the aggressive side, only because this is pillar wax, which is a harder wax, as I mentioned, for our egg. So we definitely want to make sure that the wick is able to, you know, burn through it. I want to be able to actually light and use the candles. So I'm going to clean the bottom of my wicks. And the reason I'm doing that is because they are coated in a vegetable wax or some kind of wax. And they're in a bag together and they jostle around, and some of that wax falls off and ends up on the bottom. And I don't want there to be any interference between the bottom of the wick and the wick stickum. Now, if you don't know what a wick stickum is, this is just a double-sided piece of tape that's cut into a circle shape. So you could use double-sided tape if you prefer. You could use hot glue. I've seen some creators use hot glue. So keep that in mind if you don't have wick stickums, but I'm sure you can find them online. They're pretty common now. They might be called adhesive tabs. That's another thing you could search for. And we're just going to make sure or try to eyeball the center of our vessel. Now, if you don't want to go cowboy and eyeball it, you can totally buy, they have some like tools for this online. Amazon for sure carries them. It's like a little piece of something, I guess silicone, with circles on it, and it brings you to a center target point. So you could place that underneath your vessel and then target where your wick is supposed to go. But I like the gamble of seeing if I can get to the center. It's part of the fun. Okay, vessels are ready. You're going to wait. How are you doing? Oh, Santa Maria. Okay, we're going to get you out of here. He's toasty toasterson. All right. And because I don't want to burn myself, safety first, always, always. I'm going to turn that off and move this out of here so that I don't accidentally smash into it. All righty. And you can scoot on out of here too. Thank you so much for your assistance. All right. So what we're going to do now is pour in our fragrance oil first. We are going to add color, but fragrance first always. Now remember, our fragrance oil for this pour was in front of the color green because this is what color it's going to be. And let's see real quick. 197. Now remember, we need to get up to 185 or higher, but definitely do not add your fragrance oil unless you have achieved 185. Keep it heating up and get up to 185. 185 is very important because that's the temperature where the wax molecules open up and are able to receive and bond with the fragrance molecules. That's going to give you a really great mix. They're going to bond super well. They'll be the besties of all besties. And then you'll get a really good scent throw throughout your candle. It's currently 4:13 p.m. We're going to stir for 3 minutes. Another thing with soy wax, you want to stir your fragrance oil and your wax together for 2 to 3 minutes. I always do 3 because I figure if 2 is good, 3 must be better, right? It's just more. So I always do 3 minutes, but you can stop at 2 if you like. And this, along with making sure you get up to that 185 degrees, is going to really help with the scent throw. Scent throw both in cold and hot throw. Cold scent throw is when you pick up a candle and you smell it when it's not lit. That's your cold throw, the scent that the candle gives off when it's not lit. And then hot throw is when you do light your candle and it's now started to melt the wax and distribute the fragrance throughout the room. That's your hot throw. So you definitely want a strong hot throw above all else, but a nice cold throw is nice as well because it gives you a sense of what your candle is going to smell like once you do light it. So mixing your wax through or mixing your fragrance really well into your wax for that 2 to 3 minutes, it's a little bit annoying, it's tedious, but it's super important. So that's step number 1. Get it up to 185 degrees before you add your fragrance oil, then stir for 2 to 3 minutes. And then we're going to pour our candle, of course. And the next step to helping us ensure that we get a good scent throw is to let this candle cure for 10 whole days. Soy wax needs to cure for 10 days in order to get the maximum scent throw. That's step number 3. Does that mean you cannot light your candles tomorrow? No. You can light your candle as soon as it's solidified if you want. And you will get scent throw. You just won't get your maximum scent throw unless you wait for that whole 10 days. So it's hard to be patient, but trust me, I have faith in you, but I'm not going to be patient. We're going to light these right now. By the end of this video, we're going to light our candles. So there's only so much patience you need to have today. In a live stream, we make it go snappy, snappy. So we've got 1 more minute before I'm going to add in my color. So as I was saying earlier, you always want to put your fragrance oil in first. Why? For 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is the temperature we talked about. If you were to add something else into the wax, it would drop the temperature, which means you probably would drop way past that 185, and then you're going to end up putting in your fragrance oil at the wrong temperature. And if that happens, if you put in your fragrance oil when it's below 185, you run the risk that they don't mix, right? They don't really mix and hang on to each other well. So what happens is, or could potentially happen, is when your candle then cures, you're going to get like a film of fragrance oil on top. It'll be like little droplets. It'll look like oil. That's fragrance oil. And it's because it didn't bond well with the wax. So check your temperature when you're pouring. That might be, if you've come across this problem, check your temperature when you pour or when you combine your fragrance oil and your wax. It needs to be at 185 minimum. Then we're going to add fragrance oil first because we want it to bond the best with the wax. That's the most important bond that's here. It needs to be, well, actually the wick and the vessel is a pretty important bond as well. But in terms of like the science of candle making, you want your wax and your fragrance oil to bond the best. So you can't put anything in between them. Then we're going to add in the color, and it will still attach and it will still mix, but it will not interfere with the bond that has now formed between the wax and the scent. So very important to always start with fragrance. Okay, it has been more than 3 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and add in some liquid candle dye. You can pick up liquid candle dye on Amazon. There's a lot of places that sell it. I think Michael's does as well. And I prefer liquid candle dye personally because I find it's really easy to incorporate into your melted wax. So I'm going to do about 7 drops. I want to do like a green kind of similar to my stir stick. So that's what we're targeting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Make sure we tighten that up real quick. I do not want this spilling anywhere. I meant to check the temperature before I did that. Do you see how much it's dropped down already? 134 degrees. That's because of the fragrance oil. As soon as you add the fragrance oil in, it dropped the degrees down by probably about 30 degrees. We were at like 190 and it probably dropped it down to about 160. And then I stirred for 3 minutes, adding that extra air element into it, and that dropped the temperature even more. When it comes to liquid candle dye, you don't need to stir for 3 minutes the way you do for fragrance oil. 30 seconds, a minute, perfectly acceptable. We just want them to bond enough that, you know, I kind of think of liquid candle dye as like the chill person at the party. They go with the flow. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, you want me to come first? You want me to come second? You want me to bring the, okay, fine, whatever, I'll come. I just want to have a good time. Bring me a beer. That's it. That's what I think of liquid candle dye, as the chill guy at the party. So he's like, all right, you want fragrance to go and stir in first? Cool. I'll be here when you're ready. Okay, I think we're good to go. Now, if you ever want to test the color of your wax, if you're not sure you're getting the color you're looking for, a little quick tip is once you think you've mixed it really well, go ahead and pull your stir stick out and drop a little bit of wax on a parchment paper, or if you have aluminum foil or something that's nearby you that you don't mind having a little drop of wax on. A little drop that size is not going to take long for it to dry and show you what the color of your finished wax will be. So that's a little tip from me to you. I picked up from a cowboy candle maker named Dee, and I learned quite a bit from that lovely lady. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pour the base now. So again, I'm looking to do no more than like a finger. Oh, look at all that dye that's on my finger. Oy, this could have ended very badly for me. Eee. You see? Again, wear your gloves, kids. Mucho importante. All right. So as I was saying before, rudely interrupted by green dye, I'm going to be putting about a finger width, so about an inch or so at the bottom of both of these vessels. And then we are going to put some Wick centering tools to keep our wicks nice and straight. You scoot first. Here we go. Oh my God, does this smell yummy? It smells like legit, like chocolate. Okay, I'm gonna pause there because I feel like. Okay, so there's a couple things we need to talk about when you have only a tiny bit of wax in a jar. When you're making a candle like this, where you have this little green platform at the bottom, you really do need to be aware of the temperature issue. So I'm currently pouring this in my basement, which is cold, which means I always have a temperature issue to contend with. If you're making your candles in a cold place as well, then you also need to factor this in, that your candle is going to cure from the outside in and from the bottom up and from the top down. So the center is going to stay warm, right? And because it's going to stay warm, it can cause a lot of problems. It can cause sinkholes, it can cause cracks, and it also can cause, just not so pretty things to happen to the tops of your candle. So to help avoid that, if it bothers you, which in most cases it might, what you're going to do is wrap your vessel in a little bit of aluminum foil and place a pot holder underneath it. The pot holder will break up how cold the tabletop is, and it will help protect it from that. The aluminum foil will help contain the heat of the wax so that it tries to cure itself in a more even fashion. Is that going to be perfect? Probably not, but it has worked very, very well for me in the past, especially when I have a really thin pour and it cracks, because it totally can. But all of those little things are aesthetic. They can be fixed with things like a heat gun. But to help prevent, that's a great way to give that a shot. Another option would be to do kind of the same thing, but maybe put your candle jars in a cardboard box with a lid. Put them in there and then pour your wax. Then put your lid on. That's going to keep the whole area toasty, and it'll cure hopefully at around the same temperature all around, as opposed to super curing from the sides and the bottom and possibly the top, but not so much in the middle. So give it a shot, see how it goes for you. All right, so we have 2 more steps to do. Well, not really. We have a bunch more steps to do. But for these guys, what we're going to do, first of all, you may have noticed that I cleaned out my pour pot pretty quickly as soon as I finished pouring. I highly recommend you do the same. I'm still going to wash this later with some soap and water, but it's going to be way easier to deal with now that there's no hard wax in there. So I highly recommend you do the same. Now, to complete our 2 bases here, I'm going to go ahead and put my wick centering tools on. I picked these up from Michael's Canada, where I get a lot of my crafting supplies when I can't find them elsewhere. Why? Because if you've seen a video of mine before, you know why I shop at Michael's Canada. And it's because they always have coupons. 30 to 40% off makes Mary a happy girl. So these wick centering tools are designed specifically to keep your wicks straight up and down. So you want to make sure that you get that as straight as possible, because once your wax sets, it's a pain in the butt if you have to adjust your wick, if you even can. So I'm going to scoot these off to the side. And first we're going to demold, and then we're going to pour. Why? Because I only have one of these molds. So we're going to have to kind of do this out of sequence, which is something that happens a lot during my live streams because, that's how it goes. So what we're going to do is pull this silver rod that you can see sticking out here. What this is, it's called a potato nail. And I purchased it specifically for this purpose. However, what it's designed for is to apparently cook your baked potatoes from the inside out. So that metal rod heats up and it helps cook the meat on the inside, the flesh of the inside of the potato, and it helps cook your potatoes. I've never actually tried it on potatoes, but it works very well for wax purposes. So I highly recommend you give them a shot. I can see from this angle that my potato nail moved a little bit. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be very straight. The whole purpose of why I use the potato nail is to make a tunnel through our egg so that we can thread it over the wick and then be able to light it. Now, if my tunnel has not been straightly, added in a straight way and it's moved slightly, it's going to cause me some problems to thread the egg on the wick, and also to create a hole on the top that will meet the tunnel. So you really do want to be as careful as possible to make sure that when you place the potato nail that it's really, really vertical. And that's why I used a wick centering tool for that, because it helps keep it in that upright position. And I mean, metal's heavy, right? So it's going to move a little bit. So we don't add it immediately. It's not like you pour it and you put the potato nail in. No, you have to let it kind of set a little bit. It needs to get like a slushy kind of top. And that's when you insert the potato nail. It gives you the opportunity to adjust it a little bit, but then you have to leave it and let it cure and hope that you manage to get the center point. So we'll see how we did, but it's looking like, it looks like this one was a fail. But that's okay. I have a couple of these eggs waiting off in the back, so we can use them anyway. Okay, so what we're going to do is give this a twist to help the wax that is stuck to the rod or the potato nail disengage itself. And then I'm going to start to wiggle and pull, which is another great reason why this is so good, because it has this little like chapeau, which makes it easier. Oh, this is twisting really easy, so I don't have to do much for that. Wow, this is coming out super easy too. I'm very shocked. The other ones I did not come out that fast. But voila, you see? You can see that it's not in the center, right? It's a little bit off center. There's way more space on this side than that side. But hey, what are you going to do? I mean, I can't always be perfect, guys. Sometimes I have to be pretty. I can't be like all the things all the time. Okay, I'm going to get a piece of parchment paper and I'm going to try to demold this. Now, this is a complicated shape to demold. So I don't know how to do it very gracefully, so I'm just going to do it like a brute. And what I'm doing is just loosening up the silicone from the side by pulling it and giving it a little bit of air. And then I'm kind of going to peel it back and pop it from the bottom up. I see I'm chipping it a bit, which is unfortunate. But what are you going to do? Life's hard. Oh, I just got wax on my face. Come on, dude. Yeah. Woo! Tell me that doesn't look like chocolate though. Ugh, Mary's brain. You need to remember this is not chocolate. Don't eat it. Okay, I'm just going to brush this off a little bit. This is the inside of the mold. I've now completely flipped it up inside out. And I'm just going to flake off some of this wax. Now, pillar wax, like I said, is designed to be a harder shaped or style of wax. It's designed for these types of projects, these freestanding candles. And because of that, it's a little bit more brittle than the other types of soy wax we've used before. It's the reason why I did not use that for the inside of the candle. Hey, I got some on you too. Sorry. So sorry. The reason why I use Freedom soy wax for that as opposed to pillar is because pillar is designed to shrink just a tiny bit to help with the demolding process. And you don't want your wax to shrink away from the vessel wall. We want it to stay all the way. So that's why Freedom soy is better. It's made for containers and it will adhere to the edges of the jar way better. Okay, so we have our vessel ready. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to pause. Now that we've demolded, we're going to pause this process of getting our egg ready. And we're going to pour this one. So I'm going to go pop this into the microwave now for a couple of minutes and get it melting while we get ready. Now, the manufacturer who creates this pillar soy wax and also this Freedom soy wax is called American Soy Organics. And on the packaging of the wax, it encourages you to melt it in your microwave in 30-second intervals. So 30 seconds, you pull it out, you give it a stir, you pop it in for another 30 seconds. I don't have that kind of patience. So I put it in for like 2 minutes and then I stir it a little bit and then I put it in for like another 30 seconds or another minute, whatever. And usually that works out well for me. So, you know, you do you, follow the directions or don't. But my house has never burned down while I've tried to do that. So just so you know, look at the green. I love it. It's perfect. It's the perfect green for me. This is like grass green in my opinion. So is it close? Kind of close. This is a little bit more neon. Anyway, so I'm happy with that color green and a good tip on how to see what it's going to look like when it solidifies, because you can see it's like hunter green right now, but it'll end up kind of leaning into apple green. Okay, so we are going to pour this guy. I'm going to set it off to the side and we're going to wait until it gets a little slushy and then we'll add our potato nail. Actually, I'm going to scoot you guys a little more too. Scoot, 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 scoot. Now, generally speaking, you don't want to be scooting your candles after you've poured them. You want to leave everything alone once you're done. You know what I'm saying? Because when you move your candles around, especially when you're trying to get a clean edge, you could slosh the wax a little bit and it'll get on the vessel wall and look a little sloppy, but you know, life's hard. What are you going to do? Okay, so we now need to get into the top of this egg. I have done this on one of the other eggs that I pre-made. Milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and white chocolate. Now, this is no color. And as you can see, it's not a bright white. Pillar soy wax is leaning into cream. It's not a white wax, whereas regular soy wax is very white. So, muy diferente. Okay, you need at least another minute. And then we're going to mix and pour all the same things. We're going to add our fragrance oil. We're going to add some brown dye, and we're going to pour. I'm actually debating if I want to make another brown one. I think I might make another like white one. What do you guys think? 2 chocolate and 2 white? What do you think? Should I make a chocolate one or should I make a white one? I feel like I should make, when I think of chocolate, I think of milk chocolate. Like, come on. Okay. So, before we get to actually take action in making the hole on the top of this egg, I guarantee you that wax is going to be ready and we're going to pause in the middle. But let's talk about it anyway. I'm going to be using this handheld drill that I picked up at where? Michael's Canada, but you can get them at Amazon as well. I've seen them. This is actually known as a resin hand drill, if I'm not mistaken, and they are excellent for wax. It comes with multiple bits, so it will allow you the opportunity to make smaller or larger holes depending on the size of the wick for your project. I need one of these. And a heat-resistant glove. I guarantee you this is way hotter than it needs to be. Because remember, what are we targeting? 185. I'm going to guess this is around 230. Oh my God. It's even higher than that. Which means I left it in the microwave too long. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. And we're just going to leave it off to the side for a couple of minutes and let it cool down. You really don't want to get your wax this high if you can avoid it, because there is the potential of actually scorching your wax and making it smell a little not so great. But like I said, we're going to pretend that didn't happen and move on. So I'm going to give that a few seconds to cool down before we add in our fragrance oil. But it's never going to stay this high that long. It'll drop really rapidly now that it's out of the microwave. Okay, so as I was saying, I got this from Michael's, and basically there's multiple tips that you can use to make different sizes of the holes, and you're just going to hold it in place and spin it to drill in. But keep in mind, because it is a drill, it can go slightly off center. So try to make a notch and then start drilling. That's what I've learned is the easiest way to keep, you know, somewhere in the center. Make a mark. I don't know if that's the center. Are you the center? Okay, I feel like that's the center. Good. I don't know. This one kind of looks off-centered to me. Make the hole a little bigger over here. Okay. So, how you doing? I'm actually going to start drilling one of these. So I'll put you aside because I don't need you right now. Here. Come, friend. Okay. We are going to drill these one at a time. Now, again, I'm trying to meet the hole we've already put in here with that potato nail. This is the one that's off center, so there's a really good chance I'm not going to make it, but it's okay. I know you won't be able to see this, but I need to get it to start drilling, and then I can show you a little bit. See how that looks? Now, I can't stay in this position because I'll drill it crooked. I need to try to stay up and down. Hold it and spin. If you're successful and you reach that other tunnel that you created with the potato nail, you'll know it because it'll just drop down into that opening. Look at this parchment paper spinning. What's happening, guys? Get it together. Yeah, I'm not making it to that tunnel. Oh, maybe. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like I'm still drilling straight through. I don't think I've reached. Doesn't feel like it. Bummer. It is a bummer. Okay, I'm going to take this out. Okay. We're going to see. We're going to try anyway. We'll see what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a shish kebab skewer. I wish I had a metal one. I do have them somewhere, but I don't know where. I can't remember. Yeah, for sure this doesn't meet. No. They do not meet. For sure I won't be able to thread these on. This one is... Now you would say, well, why not try to drill from the bottom up? It's because the drill is too short. And I can only go so far with it. It would only go like to about here. I'll try though. It's worth a shot. Maybe I might catch it in the middle. No. There's nothing for it to touch. Well, this is very unfortunate. But my white one has thread properly. So I don't want to accept it. But I can see that I'm going to start cracking this here. So this is the challenge that I have found so far when trying to use these solid molds for this kind of purpose. I made a teddy bear candle similar to this for Valentine's Day. It came out super cute. And I was actually able to thread them all perfectly. This is the first time I think I've had a fail. If you're watching this in the replay, Mary from the future will put that video up in the corner for you if you want to check it out. Okay, how you doing? Still 214. Bro, you are really spicy, hey? Okay. Let's get this out of here. And we're going to try this one. Now, when I demolded this and I pulled the potato nail out, a chunk of the base came out with it as well. It's not a big deal. You won't see it. It's on the bottom anyway. But again, it's not a perfect system. The pillar wax is a little bit on the tough side, yes, but it's also brittle. So it can chip away a little bit. I wonder... I already knew that that one probably wouldn't work because I could see that the potato nail had shifted. My hand's starting to hurt. Earlier this week, I made a wreath, a pom-pom wreath with little chicks. And it came out super cute, but that's why my hand is cramping so fast today because it's still angry with me for how many pom-poms I made. But so, so cute. It's on my front door right now because it's such a vibrant, beautiful yellow wreath. Oh, yeah. If you're watching this in the replay, guess what Mary from the future is going to do? She's going to link it up there. That's right. I am not catching the tunnel on this one either. It doesn't seem so. So I don't think this one's going to go through either. So this is why it would have been better if I had, instead of this... Actually, I guess I could use that. I am going to try using that. We're going to try something. We're going to try heating up this potato nail and then putting it from the bottom up and see if we can push through with it warm. Wow, you're really going to bug me today. Hey, hand? Okay. Okay. So I do not think they met. Let's see. No. Wow, 2 fails in a row. Bummer. Bummer. We're going to fix it. I am not concerned. But first, I think it's time for us to get our wax scented so we can pour into the vessel, and then we'll deal with the threading. Let's see. 196, much more acceptable. Merci. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and melt or mix in the fragrance oil that we pre-poured because we are close to that 185 mark now. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And the current time is 4:40 p.m. So I'm going to stir until 4:43. As I mentioned earlier, make sure we get them to bond really well. For this one, we're going to add, I haven't decided, do I want to add chocolate or do I not? Well, now I don't have a chocolate egg that's threaded properly, so maybe I should add brown. Isn't that funny? I'm actually really happy with this mold. It's the easiest one. This came in a set of 4. I got it from Amazon, and I really like the fact that it has these ribs. It's really pretty. But it came in a set of 4 with different styles. So one of them looks like a bunny. It's got the base and then a little head and then ears. Another one is just an egg with ears. And I can't use those molds because to demold them, I don't know who has to do it. Jesus maybe, but I can't do it. I pop off their ears immediately. I tried though. I did try, but I was not skilled. I feel like a mold like that, you would really need to use paraffin wax because I feel like paraffin wax would be a much sturdier and less likely to break. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll try that sometime in the future. You can see our wax is starting to, hey, chill out, bro. Our wax is starting to solidify and cure. You can see that nice green is coming through. I mean, we could technically use these ones, but I actually pre-made some that are already cured. What time are we at? It's only been a minute. My hand's tired. Okay. So we've gotten pretty far so far. We got almost everything done. The only problem is the chocolate eggs are not getting fed all the way through. So what I think I'm going to try once I'm done stirring the fragrances, I'm going to use my broken heat gun. Here is my mandatory disclaimer. Please don't use broken stuff, okay? I dropped this a few weeks ago. It cracked the nozzle. It still works just fine. I mean, it's probably not the safest thing in the world, but, you know, I don't have any children here. Everybody's fine, okay? But please don't do as I'm doing. Use something proper. Be safe. Eventually, I'll replace it, but I'm so cheap. I don't want to replace it. It still works. You know what I mean? So the nozzle's broken. It's fine. Okay. Something I don't think I mentioned earlier when I was stirring the fragrance oil is something silly, but I'm going to mention it anyway because I'm never concerned about looking silly in case you hadn't noticed. I'm a nerd and I'm cool with it. Whenever I stir my fragrance oil in, I like to do a little swirl. I start at the center, I swirl out, and then I skim the edges. I make sure that my stir stick is scraping the bottom, it's scraping the sides. It's basically my attempt to make sure it's really, really blending well. Is that going to make that big of a difference? Probably not. I don't even know if it makes any difference, but I do it, so I'm sharing what I do. If you want to, give it a shot. If you don't, don't. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add in some chocolate or some brown liquid dye. I'm going to try to make this one a lighter brown since we've got a dark one and a milk chocolate brown. So let's do like, I don't know, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look how cool that looks when it's spreading out in the melted wax. I always enjoy that. Okay, you guys, skedaddle. We don't need you anymore. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick stir. Again, liquid candle dye, you can stir 30 seconds, 45, a minute at most. You don't need to stir for the full 3 minutes. It'll still bond really well and get all the way through. So what we're going to do next is, once I'm done stirring this, I'm going to pour into this. We're going to give it a few minutes, probably about 10 or 15 while we deal with these guys, and let it get to a slushy stage. Literally like a slushie from 7-Eleven. Oh man, a slushie from 7. Those are so yummy. When was the last time you had a slushie from 7-Eleven? It's been a minute. I think it's been a couple years. My husband's a big fan, so we do get them from time to time. But it's been a minute or so. I'm going to tell him we need to go get a slushie now that I'm talking about it. Okay, I'm good with this. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to pour. Let's have a quick look and see what temperature we got to. Oh, did I actually check the temperature before I poured those? I don't think I did. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Life's hard. 158. And I was targeting, what was I targeting? Where's my maker math? Come back here. I was targeting 165. Oh, we are beneath. We are right there. That's okay. It doesn't matter if it's lower. You just don't really want it higher. I'm going to pour it off to the side so that I don't accidentally hit it when we're doing something. Like trying to get these things to... So I just want it to sit flat on the tabletop. Okay. And basically this is a straight pour. Nothing to be concerned about. And if my maker math is right, it should pour right to the top. Oh my God, Mary, if this was the Olympics, gold medal. Gold medal. Santa Maria. Woo! I'm very pleased with that. I'm very happy with that. No wax spared. Same thing here. You see how quickly I go ahead and start wiping. Make sure you clean as you go. It makes your life a lot easier after the fact. It's the difference between having to, well, this is a microwave safe container, so you could totally just shove it in the microwave for a few seconds, let it melt, and then wipe it off. But the one that I used in the double boiler cannot go into the microwave. And in that case, if I had to clean it, I would need to do so with my heat gun, which is doable, but who wants to go through all that effort? This is so much faster. Just like that, boom, she's clean. Well, not clean, but clean enough. If you wanted to continue using this without washing with soap and water, as long as you're using a fragrance that is similar, and like you don't want to use something super fruity when you have something chocolatey because it may not like mingle very well. But if you wanted to, you could continue using this without washing it. I'll wash mine though because I don't like that. But you totally could do it. Okay, while we wait for that to get slushy, let me put that over here because that's what that's for. Now, we're going to use one of these potato nails. You don't have anything on you, so I'll leave you for that. We're going to use one of these potato nails. We're going to warm it up and see if we can find that center tunnel and connect them. But before we do that, let's have a quick look at the candle bottoms that I poured earlier. So you can see I got myself a nice green, and we've got this little platform of grass for our chocolate egg hunt. Now, this one I know fits, and I don't want to do it until it's time because it ruins the moment. But it definitely does fit, and you can see that once it's sitting, it will have the peak of the egg will be slightly above the rim of the candle, which is exactly what I was going for. So that's why we did only that 1 inch of wax on the bottom. Now, before we go any further, I want to talk a little bit about soy wax and how it appears. As you can see, it did color very well. We got a nice green, but there's also a lot of frosting. Do you see this like lighter green here at the bottom? It's kind of hard to see with the lights. You see that there at the bottom where my finger is? You get this frosting all the way around, I see. And frosting is very, very common in soy wax. It is natural, and it is something that the wax will do just on its own. It doesn't mean you've made a mistake. This is not a beginner fail. Frost on soy is super duper. It's known. So not something you can really do a lot about. And I did get it on both of my candles, which affects the way it looks, but does not affect the way it performs. Because like I said, soy wax frost, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the scent throw. It's just not going to look as pretty. Now you could totally melt the top of this using a heat gun, but it's not going to help the frosting that's on the outside of the vessel. Outside of frosting, though, and also I just want to point out that using color will really show that frosting way, way more. If this was just a straight soy wax with no color added, you probably wouldn't even see the frosting much. So keep that in mind that this is more of a color-based thing. But I don't really know any way to fix that. Once it's there. And it's not, again, an issue in my opinion. But if you wanted to fix the top of the candle, you could totally hit it with the heat gun. And it might work. It might not, though, because it might just solidify again and still have the frosting. But if you had any sinkholes or cracks, a heat gun is definitely the way to go. We were lucky with this one. I don't have any cracks at all. There's like some discoloration that kind of looks like a crack on this one, but it's not. There's no cracks there. And you can see on the bottom, it's solid as well. No cracks on the bottom. So I got lucky with the little bit of what I did to try to prevent the crack. And all I did with these ones, I did not put the foil like I recommended, but I did sit them on top of a couple of potholders, which helped break up the cold of the bottom. So it seems to have been useful in not having them crack. So I'm happy about that. So I'm going to set these aside. These are the ones we're going to put our eggs on. Let's see if we can figure out how to get through. This is the one where we can see that the hole did not go into the center. So I'm going to leave this one. I feel like I have less of a chance with that. This one, I feel like I went a little off center here, but the hole from the potato nail looks good. Do you see this hole here? That's just the way it cured. It's not a problem. You can't even see it. Look, can't even tell. But it does happen. Soy wax is like that. But you can see I missed the center. So I don't want to put another hole here if I can avoid it, because it'll be obvious. So what are we going to do? I'm going to try to heat up this potato nail and insert it from the bottom where it originally was, and see if we can get the two holes to join. Man, does it smell good in here. It smells like chocolate. I'm scared I'm going to pop a piece off the top. I'm definitely going to miss that hole. Let me try going from the top down and see if I can catch the tunnel. Wait, let me heat that up again. I would love to hear, if you're an experienced candle maker or even a beginner candle maker, doesn't matter to me, and you've ever worked with these types of solid wax shapes, these pillar type candles, and had to make the tunnel that meets to get this wick in there. What have you done to make this work? Oh, I don't want you to crack on me. Because this is the only way I know how to do it, like that I came up with. There was another, I used to like heat it and melt. It was a whole thing. But placing this potato nail in has been really, really good to this point. Yeah, I'm not getting any further. Oh. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get through this one. I'm probably going to end up breaking off the top a little bit. So if I do, I do. I've been trying to be delicate about it and it hasn't been working so far. So let's try again. I'm curious. Feels like it went about to here. I think I'm going to have to try to make it bigger at the top. Let's try. Where does the center look like? Here? It's a guess. It's a guess. That didn't work. It's just falling into the other hole. I really don't think we are going to be successful. Shall we be aggressive like the Hulk and try to push through? Oh, I made a crack. Did you see it? We're going to crack open the egg. What do you think's going to be in there? A little baby chocolate chick? Oh my God, that would freak me the heck out. If a little chocolate chick jumped out and started tweeting at me. I'm not going to pretend that I probably would eat it, because I would if it was really made of chocolate. But this is wax. It's not chocolate. So, okay. Based on where it cracked, I think the tunnel's over here. But I can't make that any bigger without coming at it from an angle. This is going to be like the ugliest egg you ever saw. There's a murder happening. It's a chocolate egg murder. Oh, gosh darn it. I stabbed it. Okay, let's push from the top down this time. I'm pretty much convinced that I'm going to chip off the top of this egg. I feel like that's pretty much the only option that's left here. By brute force, I got through. Please don't chip on the way out. I see a little piece of wax that came out. Oh, but it's from the bottom. Not bad. For all the chaos you caused, not bad. All right, we're going to see if we can fix this with a heat gun a little bit. Make it look less like it just went through the war that it went through. Should I try with this one too? I'll put you aside for now. Frankly, that was the most ungraceful pivot ever. And I don't know that that would be anything to recommend to do. I don't even know what I would do if that happened again, other than exactly what I just did. Keep trying to force it until you make it all the way through. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do with this one now that we're talking about it. Let's try it. What's the worst that's going to happen? This already has a bit of a crack. I'm going to heat up my potato nail again. And I'm going to go from the top down because that seems to be the ticket so far. Vamos. We push, we push, we push, we push. Push, 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 push. This makes me think of the team body project that I work out with. Alex is always going push, 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 push. Woohoo, we did it. Oh, it's cracked. It's cracked like a, I was going to swear. Let's see if we can keep it from cracking off. Okay, I might be able to fix this with a heat gun. We're going to see. I don't know. But I'm pleased that we managed to get all the way through regardless. You see? Perseverance, kids. Always try. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to crack your egg. So what? We'll make some scrambled eggs. Not out of this, though. You can't eat wax, Mary. Even if it looks like chocolate, it smells like chocolate. It's still wax. Okay. So let's have a little quick check over here. This is still not slushy. Can you see how it looks still very liquid on the top? Not ready for a potato nail yet. So we're going to keep playing with the eggs and see if we can make these look less disgusting. So anywhere where I've kind of chipped it a little bit, it's getting this like chipped look. But because it's ribbed, I'm a little nervous about heating it with a heat gun. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. I'm still going to do it. Oh. Okay. I'm going to try to. No, that didn't help at all. That did not help at all. I mean, a little bit. Un poquito. Now, okay, for the record, does this matter? No, because we're going to totally thread these onto there and they're going to work like a charm. But it bugs me that I cracked them, so I want to try to seal them a little bit with some melted wax. which by the way is super ridiculous because then as soon as I thread it through the wick, I'm going to light it on fire and melt it. Okay. Not too bad. It looks better. It looks a little bit better. All right. I say we go on ahead and start threading and lighting, and then eventually this will be ready to have the potato nail put in. So I think I want to do, what do we want, guys? Do we want milk chocolate, dark chocolate, vanilla? Which egg should we place? Which 2 eggs should we place? I'm thinking milk chocolate and like white chocolate, and we'll leave the dark chocolate to the side because it's basically broccoli. Don't get me wrong, I love me some broccoli, but if I could have milk chocolate over dark chocolate, you betcha, all day. All day, day. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to hit the base of these, the tops of these little green pores that we created and liquefy them a tiny, tiny bit. Now, we don't need the whole top layer to be melted, not necessary. All we need is for them to get shiny. That shininess means that the top layer of the wax has started to soften, and that's all we need. We want the bottom of the egg to kind of like adhere to the base of, or the top of this pore. But I don't want it to be so melted that it makes the wax bleed and muddies up the color. So that's why I'm not going to melt the whole top layer, and I'm just going to make it like shiny, and then we're going to thread it on real quick. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to clean you up. You're looking a little like you went through the chaos that you actually went through. You're not in your 20s anymore, egg. Okay. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and melt a little bit around the wick in particular, because that's where we're threading it. Actually, I need to say something because I don't want to forget. While we are going to melt around the wick, try your best not to actually hit the wick with the heat gun. And the reason why is, remember, it's covered in wax, this wick. That's why it stands at attention. So if we melt it with the heat gun, then the wick, oh my God, speak Mary, the wick is going to wilt, and it's going to make it incredibly difficult to thread our egg on it. So try not to actually direct the heat gun at the wick. You're trying to go near it and around it, but not directly on it, okay? Okay, that's good. Here we go. I'm actually not sure which hole is the right hole now. See, it got a little soft. Ooh, beauty. I'm going to give this a few seconds to latch on, and then I will show you what this looks like. But it looks so cute. I would definitely try this again, but less brute force. Okay, that is slushy. Can you see the layer on top of that now? How it's become a little bit slushy? I'm not sure, but I kind of feel like I can see it. Like I can see it live, but I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that on the screen, but I kind of feel like you might. Okay, so this is the right time to add our potato nail. So we're going to pause on this, and we'll come back and do the white egg in a second. I'm not going to move that. I do not want that to move in any way. It's going to slosh all over the place. We want to keep it in place, but I want to try to place this at the center. I feel like that's a center. I got to stand up and try. I think that's the center. What do you think? Does it look like the center to you? Okay, we're going to go ahead and place our potato nail straight up and down. Just like that. And then we're going to let this cure. Best bet is 12 hours at least. And then you're going to demold. Only because it's such a solid and it's so full of wax. We want to give it a really good chance to cure really well before you try to demold it. Because if you were here earlier when I was demolding it, you'll have seen that it was not graceful in any way. It was very rah instead. Okay, so let's go ahead and melt the top layer of our green here so we can thread the white egg on. The white chocolate egg. Beautiful. Just enough. Oh, this wick got a little melty. Yay! So cute. Let's give them a couple seconds to solidify. Well, this one already has. I could probably do the Dairy Queen flip. So let's see. Look how cute that looks. A chocolate Easter egg on a field of grass, like when we were kids and we used to go looking for chocolate eggs. Man, to be a child again, hey? It was a very different world. That's for sure. How about you? Ooh. Ooh. Oh, yeah, that one wasn't ready. That's a perfect example of why you have to wait. Okay. It's going to be fine. So we're going to go ahead and light these because I love lighting the candles that I make on my channel. I feel like it's so much fun to make them from start to finish with you. We've done everything together so far, right? We've measured our wax, we've colored it, we've scented it, and we poured our grass floors with that. And then we measured, melted, scented, and colored the wax to be another chocolate egg, just like these, sitting right here. Waited for it to get a little slushy and then put it in the potato nail so we can get the tunnel that we need for the wick. And then we added them together like besties. Cute, right? Thanks, Daddy. I think so too. I think they're super cute. Okay, we're going to trim down the wicks now, and we're going to light these. Now, I'm hoping that they're going to actually burn like a normal candle. And eventually they'll start melting over the edge of the egg, and it'll give me a layer of wax on the bottom. It's going to look super cool, I think. We're obviously not going to sit here for the next 2 hours and watch these melt together, unfortunately. But we will for a few seconds. Now, anytime you are cutting your wick, you want to cut it about a quarter of an inch above your wax. Do you see that? No more than that. And the reason for that is because wicks are not designed to burn without an accelerant. And the accelerant in this case is wax. Wax is the fuel that makes your candle burn. So if the wick can't touch your wax, then it doesn't get the fuel that it needs to sustain its flame. That's why you want to make sure that you cut your wick down to the appropriate size. It can then access the wax, grab that fragrance, and throw it into the air for you, which is ultimately what we want from a scented candle, right? So I am so excited because this is the time that I can take off these gloves. Praise God. Oh my God, I hate wearing rubber gloves. Anybody who wears rubber gloves for a full-time profession, you have my undying respect because man, oh man, is that annoying. Okay. We're going to go ahead and light these guys up. Let me scoot everything out of here a little bit. Let's tidy up a little bit first. We'll tidy up before we get ambiance going. All right. Let's move you out of the way. Are we ready to light our Easter eggs? Now, I know you won't be able to see them this way again, so let's just take one last moment to have a quick look and assess. Remember, we've got some frosting on the grass on the bottom, and as you can see, I really decided I wanted to kick the crap out of this chocolate one, so it's got all kinds of chaos and marks on it. But I don't care. It came out really good. I'm super happy with that. I'm very pleased. I would definitely do this again. I think it's a lot of fun and very nostalgic. It really does bring you back to your childhood of going Easter egg hunting and following somebody dressed in a... I don't think I ever did that, actually. I'm pretty sure that I'm basically just like repeating famous tropes from movies where kids run around the lawn picking up chocolate eggs. I'm like 99% sure my parents did not do that. I can guarantee they did not do that. We were 80s kids, man. Our parents didn't do that stuff. They didn't care. They were like, here's a little bit of chocolate. Go play. Come home when the street lights come on. Okay, let's light these guys up. Give them a quick lighteroo. Here we go. Beautiful. Well, thank you for joining me today. I really enjoyed making these 3D egg candles with you. It was a blast for me, very nostalgic, like I said, and also just a fun project. And definitely something that is a multi-phase project. This isn't something you're going to do all at once, although you can see that these are already curing pretty well. We totally could wait, and then later these two combine, and that's fine. That is generally how I would make these candles if I wasn't doing a live stream. Let's say you were going to make a whole bunch of them. Get a whole bunch of silicone molds because waiting for one mold is annoying. But then you pour all your bases and line them up, make all of your eggs and line those up, and then make sure you get your tunnels nice and straight and ready to go. Thread your wicks, and you'd have yourself a whole bunch of these. A fun little Easter present that you could give to somebody or just for your own decor. I really enjoyed making these. They smell like chocolate, which is already a win in my book anytime, every time. If you ever want chocolate, think of me because I'm probably having some at that exact moment. You never know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed making these 3D eggs with me today. I had a blast making them. And I have one more candle making project next Saturday for the Easter extravaganza. And then the following week, we're going to start a new live stream series. So join me again every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do a live stream. I do all kinds of different beginner-friendly projects. I try new things. I make mistakes. We pivot. We laugh. It's fine. It's all good. I hope you enjoyed making these candles with me. If you want to learn more about candle making, check out my channel. I have a ton of beginner-friendly videos, live streams like these ones that span from Halloween to Christmas to Valentine's Day and now Easter. And I have a ton of the more, short 10 to 15 minute type tutorials where it's just me doing a voiceover and you can watch me do it in a highly edited way, or all of these, in real time kind of live streams. Whatever blows your hair back, we got it here at the IHC Craft Room. And if you're interested in learning beyond candle making, I also do a lot of dot painting on my channel and wreath making. So on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be making a dot painted project. In fact, this week, we're going to be making a beautiful sign that I'm going to use for the wreath that we're making on Thursday. It's going to be stunning. Tune in Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to dot paint that sign together. And then on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to add that as a beautiful centerpiece to a gorgeous wreath for Easter. So join me live or check out the replays on my channel. And if you enjoyed this, I would love it if you commented below. Hit that like button. It really does help me. And consider sharing with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo!